Welcome back. Now I will walk you through all the survey builder functionalities where you can edit your survey as you like. With your customized subscription, you are granted the access we call survey builder. This is the highest possible access, and it gives you a series of permission that allows you to edit your survey questions, your competences, your taxonomy, resources, and so on. This is all administered in here under Manage Survey. So we're gonna press here. And this is where you edit everything, all the content of your survey. So we're gonna go through the basic survey settings. We're gonna go through question building, competence building, taxonomy, and lastly, we're gonna go through the resources. But before we move on, the practical aspects of survey building, we do have some general rules of thumb in MapUs survey building, because as survey builders, you do have a lot of power. Also a lot of power to mess things up. So first of all, delete with caution. Once something is deleted, we cannot retrieve it for you again. We have a safety mechanism in place, and I will show you a little bit later how that works. So you can't accidentally delete something, but just be mindful of how you delete. We cannot retrieve it again once it's deleted. Second of all, rely on the tooltips for help. You see the little eyes here. You find them all over the platform. And if you're in doubt about anything, rely on the little tooltips. They are a great help. There are little descriptions of what you should type in the different places and stuff like that. So if you're in doubt, rely on the tooltips. Lastly, when adding new questions and or competences, it can sometimes be a good idea to clone existing ones instead of building new ones from scratch. This way, you kind of make sure that all the correct things are filled out, and then you can just make your changes and your edits in the clone. You're always welcome to, of course, build your own questions and your own competences from scratch if that is what you want, but it can just sometimes be easier to clone the existing ones and make the edits in the clones. So let's begin with the general survey settings. So that is what you see here. And as you see, there are two different tabs. We have the basic tab and the advanced tab. And in the basic tab is where you can set your survey title. It's where you can set your survey description. It's also here you set the language, and it's here you set the default group. So this is the group which respondents will automatically belong to if you do not give them a specific group link or PIN code. And there's already a pre-existing default group implemented for you, but it's here that you can change this default group if you want to. And you can basically change, you can choose whatever group you want to set as the default group. This is where you change it. Lastly, in the basic tab here, you need to set your contact person. The contact person is quite important to fill out because the one you set as a contact person is regarded as your data controller. You can either choose a specific person in your organization, or you can just set your entire organization as the data controller or the contact person. Completely up to you. But this is where you write the name, and afterwards you write the email. It's important to write it the way that you see it here. So these little ticks that you see before and after the email address, they're important to include. Don't delete those. Simply put the email address in between them. Let's go to the advanced tab. The advanced tab here, you can set a Google tracking ID if you want to. This is also where you can change the result email. It's a little important that you remember to change this because it automatically has MapUs as the sender. And of course, you would like yourself as the sender. So just remember to change the email results. This is simple HTML coding. Yeah. Below that, this is where you set the default welcome message. Here you can just write whatever you want. You can also add media, you can add links if you want to. So this is where you set the default welcome message. Lastly, we have the custom footer. So what I showed you before, I showed you when we went through the front page, I showed through the footer. You can change the information in the footer and then you can get your own information. So I have just made a test for you and I have to put in some information here. So I've just written test organization, test read 1, Denmark. So that works fine. I'm gonna go through the front page and then you can see here. So instead of the content we had in the footer before, now the things that I wrote right now, that has overridden the original content. So this is where you customize the content that you want in the footer. People usually have like company information or contact information. And if you want something a little bit more comprehensive, for example, something that looks like ours or anything, or your logo or a clickable website, you can use simple HTML coding. You are, of course, also always welcome to contact us for help, and we will always help you out. So that was the general survey settings.